Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to GG Press, the U.S. State Department announced on May 15, 2026, that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to extend their current ceasefire by 45 days. This agreement sets the stage for further diplomatic efforts aimed at achieving long-term stability in the region. Negotiations for a permanent agreement between the two nations are scheduled to take place on June 2 and 3, 2026. Additionally, security-related discussions are planned for May 29, 2026. A State Department spokesperson, Pigot, expressed hope on X, formerly Twitter, that these upcoming talks would contribute to advancing permanent peace between the two countries. South Korea is poised to announce a basic plan for acquiring nuclear-powered submarines as early as this month, according to officials and diplomatic sources cited by UPI. The Defense Ministry is coordinating with relevant agencies to finalize a roadmap that will outline the core principles and a timeline for their acquisition. While no specific date has been set, some observers anticipate the announcement could precede the Shangri-La Dialogue, an Asian security forum scheduled for later this month in Singapore. The forthcoming plan is expected to detail the defensive nature, missions, roles, fuel procurement strategies, and financing for these submarines. Alongside South Korea's firm commitment to complying with the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, this move follows a recent South Korea-U.S. summit, where a joint fact sheet indicated U.S. approval for South Korea's nuclear-powered submarine construction and close cooperation on fuel procurement. Defense Minister Ahn Gyu-bak recently visited the U.S. to discuss this cooperation with defense officials. According to Liberty Times, ongoing peace talks in Washington have failed to halt hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, as the two sides continue to exchange attacks. On the second day of negotiations between Israeli and Lebanese envoys, the Israeli military launched new airstrikes on southern Lebanon, stating its targets were Hezbollah infrastructure. In retaliation, Hezbollah responded by firing a swarm of drones at an Israeli military camp in northern Israel. Despite a ceasefire agreement reached on April 17th, the conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah has not ceased, with military actions leading to hundreds of deaths and both parties accusing each other of violating the accord. Imran Reza, the UN humanitarian coordinator for Lebanon, condemned the continuous attacks, citing unacceptable casualties, and emphasizing that diplomatic efforts now present a critical opportunity to end the violence. The Israeli military has issued evacuation warnings to several towns in southern Lebanon, indicating the persistent high tension in the region. New York stock prices declined on Friday, May 15th, with major indices closing lower due to investor aversion to rising crude oil prices and increasing U.S. long-term interest rates. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, comprising 30 blue-chip stocks, fell by $537.29 from the previous day's close, settling at $49,526.17. The Nasdaq Composite Index, which is technology-heavy, also saw a significant drop, closing down 410.08 points at 26,225.14. This market downturn reflects growing concerns among investors regarding inflationary pressures from oil and the potential impact of higher borrowing costs on corporate earnings and economic growth. This report comes from GG Press. South Korea has joined 25 other nations in a joint statement, reported by UPI, advocating for the restoration of normal operations and free navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. The statement was released during a summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Signatory nations, including Britain, France, Japan, Canada, Qatar, and Bahrain, committed to deploying the full range of their diplomatic, economic, and military capabilities to uphold freedom of navigation. They emphasize that passage through the strait must adhere to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and other international laws. Furthermore, the leaders pledged support for an independent, strictly defensive multinational military mission, which would include mine-clearing operations. This military endeavor would only proceed in a permissible environment and would serve to complement ongoing diplomatic efforts aimed at de-escalating tensions in the region. President Trump later confirmed in an interview that President Xi also backed the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and offered assistance. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.